minus 10 minutes. Minus 9 minutes. Minus 8 minutes. Minus 7 minutes. Minus 6 minutes. minus 5 minutes. Minus for minutes. Minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Well, I'll tell you what, you gotta be nimble, you gotta be quick, and maybe jump over a candlestick. I don't know. Welcome to the RP Show, everybody. It's a Wednesday. It's another one of those days. Morning, Bob. How are you, man? Good. Player of the week right there. It's the RP Show. It's a Wednesday. We're fired up. It's another day where if you don't like what we're talking about, wait 2 minutes. We'll be talking about something else. We got breaking news today. Why do I even try to put together a script for what we're going to talk about on the RP Show? It is a Wednesday, which means hour one is just you and me for the full hour. And then in hour two, we'll be joined by my dear friend James Gallo, the voice of the Warriors. And there's a lot of cool things going on. But I'll just remind you that in hour one on Wednesdays, I get to be the Larry King of sports. Just sit here and let it rip and rock with my comments, your comments. We don't take calls, but I read your comments, those that are watching in the live stream, Game Plus streaming, our own YouTube channel, WQVZ, and all the rest. Johan in Little Rock, Arkansas. You're on the air. Hello. The names always got me, and the place, the places. But we got breaking news. We're gonna talk some World Cup. We're gonna talk CFL. It's Wednesday. We do the Canada Game of the Week poll. A whole rash of hockey news. That's the breaking news. Blue Jays, the Moose Jaw Millers start spreading the news. Hottest team in the league, baby. 7 wins in a row. Got the gear on. The boys are down here today, golden ticket. So everybody is fired up. Thank you, Scott in Vancouver, for right off the hop saying Ethan Bear has signed with the New York Islanders. Thank you, Scott. Good friend of ours. Brave Warrior, Ethan Bear, from here in Saskatchewan. Okay, we just settled down. You see that I'm fired up. I'm having a great day. The warm-up is brought to you by our good friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel in Vancouver. And can you please do me a favor before we go any further? You've never been on a cruise before, right? I haven't. And you love the CFL, right? I do. So why would you not go on a cruise with CFL stars and score a touchdown in the Caribbean? Join CFL legend Adam Bighill and Saskatchewan Roughriders linebacker Jameer Thurman on a 7-day cruise departing from Fort Lauderdale, February 20th, 2027. A once-in-a-lifetime experience for CFL fans. Neil Chark's like, we got to get this thing sold out. So can you help a brother out? $18.99 is what the cruise packages start at. Contact Neil at Uniglobe Travel, Neil at uniglobecarefree.ca. Let me just get my stopwatch going here in the opening segment because it's already going by so fast. So the breaking news is this, comes from the National Hockey League. I'm going to be perfectly honest. My phone started blowing up this morning from NHL people, and it was about Jim Hiller. All they said was, Jim Hiller? Really? That's what they were all saying. And I'm like, oh, no, please. The Oilers didn't hire Jim Hiller, did they? I'm still waiting on the Cassidy scoop. No. Here's the breaking news. On this Wednesday, the Toronto Maple Leafs have hired Jim Hiller as the 41st head coach in franchise history. The 57-year-old returns to Toronto after spending 4 seasons as an assistant coach with the club from 2015 to 2019. Who was the head coach there then? Oh, yeah, Mike Babcock. Hiller ran his power play. And we're getting to that in a second. Hiller replaces Craig Berube as part of an offseason overhaul led by new general manager John Chayka. If it wasn't a Wednesday where our traditional poll question is always in the summer, what's Canada's game of the week? It would be, will Jim Hiller turn around the Toronto Maple Leafs? Or will the Jim Hiller win a Stanley Cup with the Toronto Maple Leafs? That would be the poll question on it if it wasn't a Wednesday for Country Thunder. And we would all vote no, but that's not Jim Hiller's fault. I mean, I'll be honest, it's where we are. Well, everybody's poo-pooing this. The ink isn't even dry on the news release, and it's not just media types, it's not just fans. I'm seeing former players that are crapping all over this hiring of Jim Hiller. Quite frankly, and we're going to bring on a close friend and associate of Jim Hiller's tomorrow, and I'll talk about him. And on this show, he'll be on tomorrow to break down this hiring. But most recently, Jim Hiller served as head coach of the LA Kings. And get this, compiled a 93, 58, and 24 record over parts of 3 seasons with the Kings. They fired him on March 1st after they lost 8-1 to the Oilers. We all remember that. Hiller served as an assistant with the Kings for 2 seasons before being promoted to head coach. That was after they fired Todd McClellan. Are you seeing Mike Stan needs Viagra. Are you seeing a pattern here? A native of Port Alberni, BC, Hiller spent 11 seasons coaching junior hockey, including stints with the WHL's Tri-City Americans and several teams in the BC Hockey League before moving to the NHL ranks. So I guess all I'm saying here, because we got a lot to get to today, and everybody else is going to be talking about Jim Hiller to the Leafs. Is it a surprise? Yes. I'm just glad it's not the Oilers, because I'm hanging on to that scoop that it's going to be Bruce Cassidy. It's 1/3 scoop, 1/3 hunch, 1/3 inside info that Bruce Cassidy will be the next head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. But Hiller's gone to the Leafs. It ain't going to work is the point there. It's never worked. But it's not Jim Hiller's fault. The Leafs are the problem, not Mike Babcock, not Sheldon Keefe, not Craig Berube, not all the guys, not Pat Quinn, not Pat Burns. So good luck to Jim Hiller. And Craig West is going to be on the program tomorrow. A lot of you know Craig West. A lot of you don't, because I don't think Westy's ever been on this show. Longtime voice of the Spokane Chiefs and Tri-City Americans. Westy's going to be joining us from, I think, Los Angeles. I'm not sure where he's hanging his hat now. We're going to find out tomorrow. I'd have brought him on today, but I said to Westy, I got James Gallo booked in there, and I don't jerk people around. And so I talked to Gallo this morning and said, get ready, brush up on your Jim Hiller knowledge. We'll be talking about that and all the other sports things with James Gallo, the voice of the Warriors, coming up in hour 2. So this opening segment, as you know, for Uniglobe Carefree Travel goes very fast. And that's the big news, the breaking news. And I haven't even got into the rest of the Quick Six Show topics, which was what we were going to be talking about in this space. We'll get to it after this segment with a whole lot of CFL news, some World Cup stuff, and all the rest, and my always popular notes segment that I write down because it's Wednesday, and I get to be the Larry King of sports and talk about what I want to talk about, not what Scruffy wants to talk about, or Kevin the Medium, or any one of these other Rudy Poos. 902-518-3033 is the text line. It's brought to you by Western Dodge. They are the official vehicle supplier of the RP show, as you all should know by now. Thank you, Wayne in BC. He writes it. He says, he says, happy hump day, Rod Squad. Are we breaking right away, Corey? Producer Corey. Kirk in Toronto wants to talk about the hockey night in Canada. Yeah, what are we at for time here? Okay. All right. I got a lot of thought. Dave Hodge, leave it to Dave Hodge. Dave Hodge is the adult in the room. Dave Hodge has some thoughts. The iconic host of Hockey Night in Canada on CBC, not carrying Hockey Night in Canada. Unless I've read this right or wrong, Hockey Night in Canada isn't dying. It's just dying on the CBC. But Dave Hodge said it's been dying for a long time. And like I said yesterday, we should have seen this coming. If you don't, you're a bit of a numpty. So we'll be right back here on the RP Show, everybody. Just get comfortable.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca. Or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time?
Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's the RP Show. So Wednesday, hump day, as the boys and gals are all saying in the chat. If you're watching on YouTube, let us know what's on your mind. James Gallo coming up in hour 2. The breaking news, Jim Hiller hired as the head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs today. All I'm saying is give it a chance. What a time to be alive. I haven't seen one positive comment about this from anybody in the, 2 to 3 hours since it came down today out of Toronto. Not one positive comment from anybody. And welcome to 2026. From the crowd. Don't annoy me, people. Please don't. I'll handle who the guests are, but thank you. Ryan checking in from upstate New York. Good day, Rod Squad. Hope everyone's having a great Wednesday. Well, I'm trying. John Ohm says, good luck, Jim, in crazy town, Toronto. I did get this funny thing from the newest public address announcer of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. My longtime friend Chris Hodges sent me a text. He said, Jim Hiller, the 41st head coach in Maple Leafs history. The search is immediately on for candidates for the 42nd coach in NHL in Toronto Maple Leafs history. That just the way that it is. I've had enough of the Leafs. You wonder why we hate them. Uniglobe Carefree Travel is the official travel partner of the RP Show and the BC Lions. And I'll get to the football in a second. This was my point one. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on World Cup because the majority of you have said you're not following it. But I will say this. Lionel Messi registered his first World Cup hat trick while moving into a tie for first on the tournament's career scoring list Tuesday night, sending defending champion Argentina to a dominant 3-0 victory over Algeria in its group stage opener. That's about as far as I'm willing to go on that, other than to say I'm kind of getting into it. And if we weren't doing the live stream Thursday night, Moose and I, for the Canada-Qatar game on the streaming platform Gosh, presented by BC Game Casino, I probably wouldn't be into it at all. But because we're getting into it, and I'm getting into the research and the coverage and the games and the hype, I'm kind of getting into it. But I'll be glad when it's over July 19th, because here's the one thing that I don't understand. In soccer people are their own mentality. Golf people have their own mentality. I'm clearly not part of that. But it's like, come on, you need to be into this. Come on, you need to be into this. Why? What? I'm into like the Centennial Cup and the Grey Cup. I don't see you guys caring about that. Why do I? So, yeah. I'm getting swept up in it. I came home last night from calling the baseball game, flipped on the late game, and Iraq was playing Norway, if I have that right. And I'm like, this looks like fun. So I'm enjoying that, all that. But I'm just saying, why do we need to be into your stuff? You're not into our stuff. But that's just the way that it is. Okay, moving on. Why you all came here today. Point 3. Well, breaking news is Jim Hiller. Point one is the World Cup, because it is the big story aside from the Jim Hiller thing, which has completely usurped Canadian sports coverage. No, Scott, just so you know, Glenn Suter, Scott in Vancouver, Glenn Suter has not been on this show, will not be on this show because of his contractual obligations to other broadcast entities. He has apologized. How about that? Carlos in Indianapolis writes in, he says, like most tournaments, there will be some good matchups going in the later rounds. I'll say this. I talked to my sponsor, Bob, my 12-step sponsor. He's a huge soccer guy. And I said, what do I need to know, Bob? And he goes, it's very early. Thank you. Okay, we're not even a week into this thing. It's very early. Okay, thanks. So I can move on to other things, like the Canadian Football League. I don't think the World Cup people care a whole lot about that. Let me jump out of this first. It's the poll question today, because it's Wednesday, is what is Canada's game of the week in the Canadian Football League? And to be perfectly honest with you, we could sit here for 2 to 3 hours and just talk about that if we, trust me, I could, because that's what I do. But I begrudgingly got Scruffy to make, he begrudgingly made his picks yesterday. He didn't want to make him because it was so early in the week. But here's your schedule for the CFL games. And it's the Canadian hour here, so let's get the Canadian stuff going. Friday night, the BC Lions at Hamilton. A cat fight. And then Saturday, a triple header. Toronto at Ottawa. Montreal at Edmonton, Saskatchewan at Calgary. And I'm kind of getting a kick out of this because I put it up on our Instagram. You can go follow our Instagram. It's always something fun going on there at The Rod Pedersen Show. What's the game of the week? 100% voting for the Calgary-Saskatchewan game at McMahon Stadium. Because of course they are. I mean, come on, guys. Have you looked at the records? And I understand why. It's a West Division collision. It's historic rivals. It's going to be a hell of a football game. But all of them are. You follow Jeff Reinbold on Twitter? I don't think the guy slept all week. The special teams coordinator for the Ottawa Redblacks. They got Toronto coming in there. So there's always something exciting about every game. But look at the standings, okay? Montreal is 2-0, going into 1-0. Edmonton, that's my game of the week. And I'm kind of sitting here going, I know that I will not be spending 9 hours indoors watching football, but I got to watch a little bit of all of these games on Saturday, I think. To me, it's Montreal at Edmonton. And by the time this poll runs out, it will have run for 24 hours. I kind of think that game might end up nudging ahead. But Sask at Calgary right now is leading the poll in what is the game of the week. And hang on. Yeah, listen, you all are invited to write in with whatever comments you would like me to discuss, because it's hour one and I've asked for that. Answer the bell here, everybody. Answer the bell. Whatever you want to talk about. And the text line, 902-518-3033. And, here's the other thing, by the way, that people don't really, I had a really good business lunch yesterday with a guy from an ad agency, and it's like, dude, you're speaking my language. You get it. He gets the whole concept of digital media and what we're doing here, an influencer. This is not a 9-to-5 job, what I do here. Point being, we're in business for ourselves here, and I had planned to be in Calgary this weekend for a business meetup that had nothing to do with the football game, but we were all going to go out there, do some business, and then go to the football game. Riders and Stampeders is going to be a big old time, and then it's business. Some meetings fell apart. Some people didn't turn out to be who we thought they were. All of a sudden, we're not meeting in Calgary, so I'm not going. So I'll be sticking around here watching football. It's all good. It's all good. But there's my 2 to 3 minutes on what's Canada's game of the week. It's the Montreal Alouettes at the Edmonton Elks. I paused for a second. I'm like, Montreal hasn't changed their team name yet, right? Kudos to Edmonton for righting a wrong. How much time we got? You see they're going to honor Dwayne Mandrusiak at Saturday's game. 50 years he's been the equipment manager of the Edmonton Elks and Eskimos. And I was alerted to it by an Edmonton Elks Instagram post. D-Rock, for whatever reason, has been a very long time supporter of mine and friend, and I don't really know why, but I'm just grateful for it. So, was it pre-COVID, post-COVID? We're all that fuzzy era of COVID that we're all trying to block from our memories when Dwayne Mendrusiak was fired by the Edmonton football team. I'm not choosing my words carefully here. I'm just taking myself back to the time when that happened. Because, again, it was so hazy. It was so ugly. I don't really think about it a whole lot. Wait a minute. You're firing Dwayne Mendrusiak, who's been with you for 49 years at the time. I'll name the names. Chris Preston was the president. Brock Sunderland was the general manager. Those were the guys that fired this icon. To tell you he was upset would be an understatement. And that was 49 years. You couldn't wait one more? As they say now, where are those guys now? Like, literally, where are these people that make these life-altering decisions for people in our world of sports and media and sports media that they just completely knock your world into a frickin' tizzy, and then you got to deal with it, and then years later, people found out they're, yeah. So Dwayne Mendrusiak will be honored on Saturday for 50 seasons with the Edmonton Eskimos and Elks, and the interesting thing about that is he looks 30. That's what we've never, ever been able to figure this out. You've been with the team how long? Very special guy. There are my thoughts on that. 902-518-3033. The text line's rolling. Thank you, Jason in Red. I guess we will get to the Hockey Night in Canada thing, especially because this is the Canadian Hour. I should have known. 78%, and thank you, Jason, for updating me on the poll results for Country Thunder, the biggest party this summer, is coming to Craven, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th, featuring Lainey Wilson, Creed, and the RP show. That's another story I could go on for several. Good thing we got a lot of time here. I just got a letter sent to me from the Country Thunder people. Okay, you're going to get wristbands, you're going to get VIP parking, you're going to have special access, and I'm like, haven't stepped out on those grounds in 11 years since I quit drinking. Feels like now's a good time to go back. They never stop being my friends. It's just like, I love you people. I can't be here. I hope you understand. But enough time has passed. We're going back. They're sponsoring the show. Bob's Your Uncle and the RP show is going to be at Craven. Everything's coming back around. What's that, producer Corey? What's that? Oh, producer Corey says if they ever give access to us to test it, it's a month away, and all we need is Wi-Fi. We'll be fine. I know those grounds like the back of my hand. Just so you know, we're good. We're very good. If I have to go up to the top of the hill and send up a bat signal. The last thing I'm worried about is whether we can broadcast from Craven. Oh, my God. John writes in and says, and the reason for D-Rock's firing in Edmonton? Let's just say a clash of personalities. It's Dwayne's story, not mine to tell. Let's just say a clash of personalities. Dwayne has one, and the people that he was dealing with did not. 902-518-3033. Everything's coming back around. That's all. I had a call this morning with my advisor, Lisa, who, by the way, reminds me so much of Marissa Hargitay. I said, everything's just weird. And she's like, just sit back and enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy the ride. Are you in trouble? I'm like, no, everything's great. Then keep it that way. It's all coming back. El Sasco writes in on the text line. Hi, Reverend Rodney. Should old El Camo executives be the RP show chicken cannon target of the week for firing Dwayne? I'm sure they would all prefer that I wasn't bringing it up, quite frankly. But, I mean, It is what it is. As Shiv would say, it is what it is. I mean, I don't want to stir all this stuff up. I mean, I go back to this little incident. Listen, they're still talking about it in Moose Jaw. They were talking about it last night in the press box at the Millers game about me going into Mosaic Stadium on Saturday and the controversy that caused, only online, but going in with the BC Lions. And I said I didn't really want that to all happen. Like, I went in there as an invite, but it stirs up a lot of old emotions that we would all kind of like to let sit, but you also got to deal with it too. 902-518-3033. I'm working on it, John. Let's just get through today. As the bracelet says, one day at a time. Yeah, let's keep rolling here. We're having fun. A couple things. Point one. Well, breaking news. Jim Hiller has been hired as coach of the Leafs. That's the breaking news. Are we out at breaking right away? How long? Oh, my God. We'll be right back on the RP Show. Stick around.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote your rebel, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, we're back. It's a busy day here in the RP show. It's hour one. It's a Wednesday. Man, it goes fast when it's just me. How about that? James Gallo coming up in hour two, the voice of the Warriors, my dear longtime friend. Here's the breaking news on this Wednesday, kind of hijacking sports coverage on this show and across Canada. And this is the Canadian Hour. The Toronto Maple Leafs have hired Jim Hiller as their next head coach. Utah Darren writes in, says, looking out my window with blue sky, small breeze blowing, and it just hit me. I have 3 damn sprinkler heads to fix today. Well, thank you, Utah Darren, for that update. I'm trying to stay on track. But keep the comments coming, everybody. I just have to filter them. And when it's just me rocking it solo here, I don't have as much time. Kirk in Toronto writes in on the Western Dodge text line, 902-518-3033. And by the way, when we talk hockey, it's brought to you by the Mad Greek Eatery. I was there yesterday. Are you craving the ribs that everybody's talking about, the famous Greek ribs with Johnny's secret sauce? John's the Mad Greek. Check them out today at the Mad Greek Eatery. And the text lines for Western Dodge, the official vehicle provider to the RP show. Kirk writes in on that text line, hey, Rod, the baby Leafs, the Marlies, are 1 win away from winning the Calder Cup after last night's win at a packed CNE Coliseum. Oh, and who is Jim Hiller? I know you're respectfully asking that question, not a slight towards Jim Hiller, I would hope. But I'm seeing the hiring of Jim Hiller today getting crapped on pretty much by everybody. They could have hired Scotty Bowman. It would have been. They've already had Paul Maurice and ran him out of town. Like, if you don't know who Jim Hiller is, I wonder if you follow the National Hockey League that closely at all. I read his record off the top of the show: 98 wins in LA against 50. If I have it, it's like 92, 58, and 24. Highly successful run in the regular season in LA. Nobody's been successful there since Darryl Sutter left, for whatever their reasons are. Jim Hiller was an assistant coach in Toronto for 4 seasons under Mike Babcock. And coming up tomorrow, Craig West is going to be with us to analyze this a little more. Craig West called the games in Tri-City when Jim Hiller was the head coach of the Americans there. This is actually, I think, a good hire. He knows the market. He's been a head coach before. It's not like hiring a general manager that nobody likes, that the Leafs already did and had no experience in his prior job. I actually think it's a decent hire, but of course it's 2026, so everybody's going to crap on it. It would literally would not have mattered who they hired. That's the point. Everybody would be crapping on Jim Hiller as the head coach of the Leafs. That was the breaking news. Point one's World Cup. We didn't spend a lot of time on it because you guys aren't interested in it, and that's totally fine. Point two, we talked about the Canadian Football League and Week 3. What's the game of the week? To me, it's Montreal-Edmonton, but winning the poll is Riders-Stampeders, and that makes all the sense in the world when you consider 2 of our top 3 markets for viewership are Saskatchewan and Calgary specifically. Makes all the sense in the world that's what they would be voting for. Point 3 is NHL stuff. All I'll say more on Kyle Calder is I didn't realize how much of an impact Greece had on people. It's in my commentary today. I'm not going to. We spent far more time on it yesterday, but with the passing of Kyle Calder, he had a huge impact on me. We discussed that yesterday. We were together for 4 years with the Pats. Stayed in touch and close through all his 10 years in the NHL, and I was just with him last year. But I was in the ballpark here last night in Moose Jaw. They were all asking about him. My phone's been blowing up from NHL friends. And what happened? What happened? Doesn't really matter what happened. Kyle Calder passed away. He just had a huge impact. He was that kind of guy. And it is incredibly sad. That's what everybody ends the discussion on, is how sad. He's got young kids, and his daughter made a statement yesterday. It was just rip your heart out. And for me, because you guys watch this show every day, I mean, I'm still learning the lessons, but some of these lessons I learned a long time ago. And one is, you never know when you see somebody that it could be the last time. For me and Kyle Calder at the United Center a year ago, Chicago, was the last time we'd ever see each other. We had a heart-to-heart that night, and what we talked about is between us. But you know what? The first time and only time that I've been in the presence of Kenny Nagunst from our friends at 806 Sports, Amarillo, Texas, we parted ways in Burlington, Ontario. We were out there last summer doing a show. Kenny pulled me in. He gave me a hug. He goes, listen, give me a hug. I've lost too many friends that I never saw again. And we had a little talk about that. So I live that way. Grease and I are fine. And do you want to leave that last chat the way it is with some of the last chats, I guess is the point with people. That's the lesson in that. I didn't have time to get into this. Maybe Jason and Red Deer can. I saw Mitch Marner address the media yesterday of all this tidal wave of stuff that's going on in sports. But I feel like the World Cup is sucking up 98% of the headlines and talk, and that's fine. That's the World Cup. I get it. I just saw a photo. Marner addresses dark days in Toronto, and he's sitting at the. What did he say? What did he? I don't. We all know what those dark times were, and there is the sad part is here. There's literally nothing that he can say that's going to smooth any of the waters. As a matter of fact, anything that he says will ignite the flames even more. Like there's parallels here in life. Me going back into Mosaic Stadium Saturday and all the crap that was thrown at me from Rider fans going, you forgot your roots. What are you begging for a Grey Cup ring? Blah, blah, blah. Idiots like that, you're never going to satisfy or change their minds, so you ignore them. Same thing with Mitch Marner. Why address the Toronto thing if you're Mitch Marner? Other than there's reporters in his face about it. And he did bring it up. He brought it up first. But it's that whole thing about going back into a place. It's not easy. And in some cases, you're better off to not even go in at all. So the Marner thing, Kyle Calder, and then the coaches thing. I mean, I talked about this off the top of the show. I'll say it again. When my phone started blowing up first, I didn't even think I'd left the house this morning. And people were like, Jim Hiller, really? And I'm like, oh, don't tell me that Edmonton hired him. No. Nope. The Leafs did. And like I say, it wouldn't have mattered where it was. It would have been poo-pooed no matter what. That would be a great poll question. Well, Bill, I see you're watching. Bill, the Leaf fan from Whitby. Or for that matter, Bill from Brantford, Ontario. Where are you guys on this hire? Like, who do you want? If we believe Bruce Cassidy is going to Edmonton, which I still do, who else are you going to hire? Peter Laviolette's gone to L.A. Hiller was out there. He's got the experience. He's been in Toronto, very well respected in NHL circles. I don't see what's not to love about this hire with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Moving on, and I'm saving the Hockey Night in Canada talk for the final segment, just so you know. That's going to be fun. Point 4, Davis Schneider and Andres Jimenez hit back-to-back home runs. Dylan Cease pitched 5 shutout innings, and the Toronto Blue Jays beat the Boston Red Sox 6-1 Tuesday night. George Springer added a 2-run homer, the 300th of his career, and knocked in 3. Schneider's drive off rookie Peyton Toll cleared the Green Monster, and Jimenez followed with a shot that put Toronto up 3-0 in the 5th. It marked the first time the Blue Jays went back-to-back this season. How about that? There's your Jays update. They'll do it again at Boston tonight in a 6:45 first pitch. But I'll say this. Hey, start spreading the news. In more ways than one, our Moose Jaw Millers have won 7 in a row. I'm wearing the shirt today. We got a game tonight against the division leader Saskatoon Berries. First place is on the line in the Eastern Division. But I'll say tonight at Roswell's Park, it'll be a beautiful night for baseball. Come on out and join us. Come up and say hi. But I had a long talk with our skipper last night, Michael Gonzalez from Secaucus, New Jersey. Did I tell this story on the air? I can't remember. I said to him, I know that you work in a hotel in New York, Manhattan. That's your main job. How do you get away for 3 months to come up and coach baseball in the Western Canadian Baseball League all summer? And he goes, my buddy owns the hotel. And with the Millers on a run, now winners of 7 in a row, we sat in the dugout. What's up, producer Corey? Less than a minute? You're cutting out. Sorry. Okay. So he's a longtime assistant coach. This is his first year with the head job. And he was always just a gregarious, funny guy, player's best friend. All of a sudden this year, all business. You can see it in his eyes. And I said, Gonzo, I didn't know you had it in you. I'm so proud of you, man. Let's keep it rolling. We talked about the construction of his roster and in coaches that left from last year. It was a good chat. Great culture. Players are down here today. Life is great. Weston Walls, my good friend, the pecan rancher from Torrell, Texas. He's down here working out about 50 yards from me right now. Torrell, I love it. We'll be right back.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Well, we're back. Hello, everybody. It's the RP Show. Game Plus streaming. We're going to Nevada in hour 2. We got all our viewers are special, but as I do the Larry King of Sports, Craig in Raleigh, North Carolina. Hello. Craig Campbell is tuned in from the Hockey Hall of Fame. And he has written in, it says, enjoying your show in the Carolina Heat. Hey, Craig, obviously I was thinking of you the other night. We were watching Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final at Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon, our hockey watching headquarters and sponsor of our picks here every day. So the game was over, and all the guys I was with, they wanted to leave. And I'm like, no, guys. We got to wait for them to bring the Stanley Cup out. I've been watching this since 5 every year. Come on, sit down. Craig Campbell. We all know Phil Pritchard, who's probably with Craig right now. He's the guy with the Jeff Daniels haircut from Dumb and Dumber. Come on, the long blonde straw hair. That's Phil. Craig's the other guy, and he's watching right now in Raleigh, North Carolina. Craig in Raleigh, hello. You executed your duties flawlessly, Craig, which I knew that you would. But this was interesting. You tell me, Craig, since you're watching. They killed the lights there in the Fortress. Spotlight comes on. And I'm like, whoa, this feels new. I've been watching that Stanley Cup presentation again for almost 50 years. I don't ever remember them killing the lights and putting a spotlight. And unless they did, and I missed it. But anyways, they did a great job. There's Phil, the keeper of the cup, and then Craig, who's a huge Argos fan, and he's watching from Raleigh today from the with the Hockey Hall of Fame. So thank you, Craig. Welcome. And thank you, Jason and Red Deer, for the synopsis of what Mitch Marner said yesterday. So Mitch said mental health is an important thing. He's been trying really to take care of it the last 5 years. Great teammates with the Leafs to talk to. Thought of playing hockey was tough. Had a dark vibe and a dark hole. Really important to always check on your friends and family. That's the thing. I'll just say with the NHLers that we've lost this year prematurely for a variety of reasons, you just know about the athletes that we lose. There's a lot of guys, and I'm just saying it because June is Men's Mental Health Month. There's a lot of guys that we lose that aren't celebrities far before it should be their time. So thank you, Jason, for that. Okay. Utah, Darren, I love it. Utah comes where Utah comes to talk. The Rod Pedersen Show. How about that? Utah, Darren writes, he says, I haven't heard about specific offers, but the Mammoth have a few unrestricted free agents and RFA guys they would like to get signed for next year. Let's wait till July for free agency talk, although hey, listen, I get it, man. The Florida hockey fans are up me. When you coming back? When you coming back? Labor Day, guys. There is a thing called summer. But anyways, I appreciate you all. And interestingly enough, 40% for whatever reason of our audience on streaming is American. I don't know why. I have no idea why, but it is what it is. I think they're in a way fascinated with what I'm about to talk about. It's the final point of our Quick Six show. What's the fifth point? Point 6 I always leave open for randoms because that could be a lot of things. But point 5, which, by the way, hour 1 is brought to you by Suds. Are you stuck for gift ideas? Suds gift cards available online at our location or at Costco. They're the ultimate for anyone who loves a clean ride. Visit sudsregina.com. So again, point 5. I'm going to read the Canadian press story and then give my thoughts. That's what I do here every day. Hockey Night in Canada, a program featuring National Hockey League games that has been part of the national fabric for nearly 75 years on CBC television, will not return to the public broadcaster next season. An agreement between Rogers Communications and the CBC that allowed Hockey Night in Canada to air on the network expired at the end of the Stanley Cup playoffs. The two sides did not extend the partnership for the 2026-27 campaign, the first year of Rogers' 12-year, $11 billion broadcast rights deal with the NHL. The CBC previously aired national games on Saturdays, along with all 4 playoff rounds each year. Of everything that's been going on in the last 24 hours, the World Cup, what else is going on? The World Cup, baseball. The biggest thing that's been dominating my timeline from what I see is this Hockey Night in Canada thing. And Craig, I mean, you're on the scene, you're in the circles. You tell me. I've been around this game a little bit, worked at Sportsnet for 4 years. Hockey Night in Canada isn't dying. It's just not going to air on CBC anymore. For our U.S. friends, I was trying to equate it to this morning as I was out for my very long walk, which I enjoyed tremendously. It would be like Monday Night Football is the American equivalent of Hockey Night in Canada. The most iconic entity in sports television in America is Monday Night Football. In Canada, it's Hockey Night in Canada Saturday nights. So here's the difference between Canadians and one of the difference between Canadians and Americans. Monday Night Football moved to ESPN a couple of years ago. You didn't hear a peep. And producer Corey works in the TV business. He might find this interesting too. ESPN has never been an over-the-air network like ABC, NBC, CBS, or Fox. They're a cable channel. Nobody cared because everybody has cable. Everybody is up in arms in Canada. I think that they think Hockey Night in Canada is dying. Hockey Night in Canada is not dying. It's just not going to air on CBC, which nobody watches anymore anyways. How many of you literally have gone and unplugged your cable on a Saturday night and try to fiddle through the dial to get CBC? Nobody does that anymore, but it's just one more thing to bitch about. But I will say this, Dave Hodge, who's been on this show a few times, and is he the dean of Canadian sports broadcasting? To me, probably. Dave Hodge was fired at Hockey Night in Canada and CBC in the 80s, and we all know why, and if you don't know, we don't have time, but Dave Hodge is like everybody's dad in this business. And it was a huge, Craig Campbell, you might get a kick out of this, huge compliment I took. One night we were up to no good in a bar in downtown Edmonton called Sherlock Holmes, and I was with Dave Moisty Moyer from the whatever network he was with at the time, I think TSN. He goes, you're just like Dave Hodge. I'm like, I'll take that. I don't know what that means, but thank you. Dave Hodge, the man. He's the man. So there's an article, because I do a little research getting ready for this show. It's the end of what I read, the first paragraph of the story here. Dave Hodge was interviewed about this and how he feels about Hockey Night in Canada no longer airing. You should all just Google Dave Hodge right now. Do it, because you should read it for yourself. Now I know why the guy by Moisty said I'm like Dave Hodge, because we look at things the same way. He goes, honestly, number one, we should have seen it coming. Number two, what they're airing right now is nothing like what Hockey Night in Canada was built to be. He's like, they no longer wear the light blue blazers. All the broadcasts look the same. They all sound the same. You don't know whether you're watching Sportsnet, TSN, ESPN. Largely, you don't. TNT. Like, really, what are we saying goodbye to here? It was literally what Dave Hodge, and I'm just sitting there going, keep it coming, Dave. Keep it coming. And there's a guy that is so talented that he got fired by CBC Hockey Night in Canada because he dared criticize a programming decision made by CBC. He wasn't wrong, but a lot of us get fired for doing things that weren't wrong. So here's Dave Hodge. What are we saying goodbye to? He said, everybody wants to talk about Don Cherry and Ron McLean and Brian McFarlane and Howie those guys. This is what they're airing now. I'll use a Mike Kelly term, the football guy, when he referred to CFL football and the brand of football compared to when he was throwing for 700 yards with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. A bastardized version of what it was built up to be. So, yeah, we're all sitting here going 75 years. Hockey Night in Canada was probably more responsible for building the brand of the National Hockey League than any other entity in the world. CBC, Hockey Night in Canada. And what I was mad about, Craig, and I don't know, you can chime in on this or not, the 75-year history of Hockey Night in Canada deserved way more and way better than to have a flippant, pissant little news release and tweet, oh, by the way, we're not carrying it anymore. That's the most insulting thing out of all of it. But I've been quoting Tom Brady a lot lately. I won 7 Super Bowls. Nobody gives a shit. Nope. And he's not wrong. 75 years on CBC. Nobody cares. How does that feel? People, they should be ashamed of themselves at the top of that network. Okay, Scott in Vancouver says, I thought Hodge was another casualty of Harold Ballard. I think was another firing in the history of Dave Hodge, not at CBC. He was broadcasting Leaf games, I believe. I'd have to go back and look it up. It was only 45 years ago, for the love of God. But that was the reason why he left Hockey Night in Canada, was criticizing. Hey, don't criticize the people at the top. There's another lesson for you today. You're welcome, free of charge. John in Edmonton says, do you think the regional restrictions are going to go away now, or are they going to stay? I don't know, and I don't care. But I'm a little different than everybody else. If it's on the television in front of me, I watch it. If it's not on my television in front of me or not that easy to find streaming, I don't go looking for it. I'll watch something else. Brent in the Bridge City writes in, he says, one less thing to watch on the CBC. Yeah, I mean, my guess is Sportsnet wanted them to write a check for the rights to carry the games. They said, we can't afford it. We're out. Welcome to sports in Canada, sports broadcasting, because I'll say this, living in South Florida, it is different. What's that, Corey? Yeah, you're breaking up again. Brent in Saskatoon says Dave Hodges right on with his comments. Hockey Night in Canada is nothing like it was originally.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Well, hello, everybody, and hold on to your hats. It is a Wednesday. It's the RP Show, and we're rocking you on the Silver State Sports Network out of Nevada, specifically Las Vegas, streaming on the Game Plus streaming channel, our own at the Rod Pedersen Show, and of course WQVZ Radio. and the U.S. South. I apologize for those in the Bible Belt. I did drop a couple of F-bombs in hour one. Nothing too bad. I'm sure the kids have heard it before, but I'll clean it up here in hour two of the show, but hour one on Silver State Sports. I'll tell you right now, there is breaking news on this Wednesday. I was just sifting through the ESPN.com headlines of what's going on in sports right now. I'm like, But there is one breaking news item that even hit the ESPN.com wire. And does it relate to our viewers in the Southwest United States? A little bit. The Toronto Maple Leafs, here it is, have hired Jim Hiller as the 41st head coach in franchise history. Saying it again, Placeline, Toronto. The Maple Leafs have hired Jim Hiller as the 41st head coach in franchise history. The 57-year-old returns to Toronto after spending 4 seasons as an assistant coach with the club from 2015 to 19. He replaces Craig Berube as part of an offseason overhaul led by new general manager John Chayka. So, a couple things here. I'll continue on this in a second. Today's guest is James Gallo, the voice of the Warriors, a longtime friend of mine. We lined this up last night in the press box at the baseball game that we were doing. And he knows Jim Hiller, interviewed him many times. We'll have a hockey chat. We'll have a football chat, some baseball. James Gallo coming up, brought to you by Prairie Panels. Tomorrow, Craig West is going to be with us, my old buddy Westy. He was the voice of the Tri-City Americans and the Spokane Chiefs. You're really going to love Westy, and I can't believe I waited this long to have him on the air. He's a buddy of Hiller's. He went down to L.A. to visit him there. They're tight. And it was actually Westy today who told me, he's an original L.A. guy, Craig West, but he said Hiller ran Mike Babcock's power play with the Leafs from 25 to 19. It was pretty damn good. They had a lot of talent, too, I might add, but I have not seen one positive comment from anybody, not one, on the hiring of Jim Hiller. And listen, look at it. Most recently, Hiller served as head coach of the LA Kings, compiling a record of 93, 58, and 24. That's pretty damn good over parts of 3 seasons, but he was fired on March 1st following an 8-1 loss to the Edmonton Oilers. So I think it's just a societal thing. Everybody's in a race to crap all over everything. I think it's a good move. He's been in Toronto before for 4 seasons. He knows the market, has the head coaching experience in L.A. Nobody's been able to win in L.A. ever since Darryl Sutter left. And what would be a really good poll question today was, do you think Jim Hiller will restore the Toronto Maple Leafs to prominence or even win a Stanley Cup? But I mean, this isn't a fantasy show. Nobody's going to lead them to a Stanley Cup. So is it going to work? We'll see. I just again, shouldn't be surprised. I'm disappointed in the sound poo-pooing of this by the hockey people. There's a lot of former players. Obviously, the media, that's what they do. And the fans, Leaf fans, I just don't think they really know hockey. I mean, I'm sorry, Kirk in Toronto, but you wrote in and just said, who's Kirk Hiller? I mean, there's Leaf fans and then there are hockey fans. I think you're a Leaf fan. If you don't know who Jim Hiller is, I know he's more of a Pacific time zone kind of guy. He's from Port Alberni, age 57, but he's a good guy. Let's see how it works. But nobody's been able to make it work there. So, again, this is the warm-up brought to you by Uniglobe Carefree Travel, the preferred travel partner of the RP show. And the BC Lions, here's my laptop acting up on me. That's my bad. When it comes to sports trips, group travel, or your next great getaway, trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Chark with Uniglobe Carefree Travel. I'll get into that. That's the breaking news, Jim Hiller being hired in Toronto. There are a few other items that are coming up, some that are entertaining me, some that are fascinating me in the hockey world. It was by grace of God, the Golden Knights made the announcement before we went to air or while we were on the air on Tuesday that John Tortorella wasn't coming back. Gave us 2 hours to debate it, an hour here on Silver State Sports. Good move, bad move. That was the big talk in the ballpark last night because I am living in a hockey town for the summer, and we all kind of agreed that, and James Gallo was part of that discussion. He's coming up next. It seems, has all the feels of a mutual parting. Kelly McCrimmon, the general manager of the Golden Knights, was incredibly respectful, thankful to John Tortorella for the job he did in getting him to the Stanley Cup final. It was a quick job. Give us a bump. He did. Thanks. And then I don't believe they've officially hired Ryan Craig as their head coach. And that's where we kind of get confused in today's media. The big meme, breaking, Ryan Craig expected to be named head coach of the Golden. Well, has he? Because until it's official, which I'm sure it will happen, but I'm not going to talk about it until it's official. I don't like the speculation part of all of this, which is another thing. James Gallo, our next guest, did broadcast Ryan Craig's games as a junior hockey player in the dub. That's how far he goes back to Kelly McCrimmon. So for like I see on Silver State Sports, give us a follow at Silver State on Twitter. The boys put on there, was moving on from John Tortorella, the right decision. Mike Davis was discussing that on his show. Whether it is or not, they did it. And they don't exactly have a history, the Golden Knights, of making mistakes. We talk about that here every day, so we wish them well. Okay, back on point if there was one. And I will tell you that we're open for business in the comments. For those that are watching on streaming, 902-518-3033. This was my bad. In hour one, I left it till the very last point. I should have made it the first point because that's all anybody wants to talk about is CBC, Canada's PBS, making the decision to drop Hockey Night in Canada, effective immediately. I've made my thoughts known on it yesterday, briefly recapping it here. A 75-year tradition on CBC deserved better than to just be flippantly announced on a news release and tweet that they're dropping Hockey Night in Canada, but welcome to the broadcast business in 2026. It would be like Monday Night Football no longer airing on ABC. Oh, wait, it doesn't anymore, and nobody cared. So that's the difference between Canadians and Americans. So it's on ESPN. Great. We all get ESPN. We all pay for cable. So it's just another thing to bitch about. That's my thought on that. And again, the text line is brought to you by Western Dodge, 902-518-3033. James writes in, I'm not sure where he's at. He says, the ringtone on my phone is the Hockey Night in Canada theme song. Well, there is more to it than I'm willing to get into here, especially when we're airing in Nevada. But from what I understand, CBC does own the name Hockey Night in Canada, and it does own the theme song. So there might be a problem there. But if they couldn't work this thing out, all the mucky mucks and make all the money, all the suits in downtown Toronto, we're not going to figure it out here today. Bill is watching. He's from Whitby, Ontario. He says the new Leaf coach has been in the Toronto spotlight before, so he should be able to operate and coach without the distractions a new guy would have. That's what I think. I think it's going to help him immensely that he was there for 4 years with Mike Babcock. But what do I know? I'm just a pretty face. That's all the breaking news, the Leaf thing. Point one of the Quick Six show topics. I'll get into this a little more here now, and we didn't in hour one at all. Lionel Messi registered his first World Cup hat trick while moving into a tie for first on the tournament's career scoring list Tuesday, sending defending champion Argentina to a dominant 3-0 victory over Algeria in its group stage opener. I'm getting into it because we're going to be hosting a live stream on Thursday on the streaming platform Gosh. I can't believe how many people have heard about this and are going to be joining Moose and I. Thank you. It's going to be fun. 6 p.m. Eastern, Canada, Qatar, the World Cup group stage game. I can't believe that I even somewhat know what I'm talking about. I got a little over 24 hours to really figure out what I'm talking about. The other one, soccer fans are gearing up for Toronto's second FIFA World Cup match as Ghana takes on Panama Wednesday evening. Fans will gather in downtown Toronto before marching to Toronto Stadium from Stanley Park at 3 p.m., hours before kickoff. Really? I thought it was called BMO Field. Oh, wait. Meanwhile, Panama supporters are set to rally at Trinity Bellwoods Park before marching at 1:30 p.m. See, I'm kind of stuck in the whole, I'm too old for this on this side, and this side, just go with it. What was the game the other night in Kansas City? I'm like, that looks a lot like Arrowhead Stadium, but it says Kansas City Stadium. It's a soccer thing. We don't play by your rules. We're bigger than you. Oh. The games today. But here's I'm writing down the games, and I came home last night from broadcasting baseball, and I turned on the game, and I'm like, this is actually pretty good. It was Iraq-Norway. And Norway won it. How do I know this? Here are the games today. Portugal versus Congo. England versus Croatia. Ghana versus Panama, as mentioned, and Uzbekistan against Colombia. I'm getting a huge bang out of this because I'm like, you better not be tuning in asking for any betting advice on this. It's fun to watch the games, but would you agree with me? The hype and what's going on in the stands and around the stadiums is far more interesting than what's going on in the field, or is it just me? That's kind of how I feel about it, but I'm watching. Since we're here, point two, because it's Wednesday, the Nevada viewers are going to get used to this. You're going to have to. Hockey's over. What are we going to do? We got to talk about what I'm interested in. It's the Rod Pedersen Show. Otherwise, this ain't never going to work. And the Americans love the football. I'm talking about the American rule, or in this case, Canadian rules. Every Wednesday, we do the poll question, what is Canada's game of the week in the Canadian Football League? Okay, we're all going to be watching. And so that's the poll question today. This should not surprise me. Here are the games. We'll probably be talking about this a little bit next segment when James Gallo joins us. And it's 1:11. Thank you, guys, for pointing it out. 1:11 Eastern, 11:11 Mountain. I'm the first guy to say. Oh, no, Carlos, always. Oh, thank you for the questions, by the way. John, just hang on. You got a great question for me. But since we're on point 2, point 3, we've gone a little squirrely here. That's okay. It's the BC Lions at Hamilton Friday night. And then a Saturday triple-header. The Toronto Argonauts at the Ottawa Redblacks is the early game, followed by Montreal at Edmonton, Montreal Alouettes at the Edmonton Elks, and a battle of the unbeatens. That's my vote for Canada's game of the week. And the nightcap is the Saskatchewan Roughriders at the Calgary Stampeders. My old team against my former hated team. That's winning the poll. Shouldn't surprise me based on the demographics of our viewership and fan base, but that's winning the poll, Saskatchewan at Calgary. But if you just look at the standings, Montreal is unbeaten at 2-0. Edmonton's unbeaten at 1-0. It's their home opener. That's my game of the week. But who's kidding who? I'm going to be watching them all. Vancouver Eric writes, and he says, total goals equals 2 is a safe bet. I mean, I don't even bet at all. And that's probably a good thing. I'll tell you what, who is not watching this Brendan Sorsby situation incredibly closely? You are, right? I have that written down as my notes here today. That interview with Zig Fracassi, I hope you all paid attention to it because there was a buffet of, we were going fast, but Zig Fracassi from SiriusXM NFL Radio was such a great guest. And right at the tail end, he talked about the Brendan Sorsby situation. It didn't matter if he made 9,000 bets while a quarterback at Indiana or Texas Tech or one bet. He's done. And he has come out and said he's going to declare for the NFL draft. And I just knew at the time it was like, oh, you might want to ask the NFL about that because they haven't cleared him playing. And that would be probably a good Football Friday poll question. Will the NFL declare Brendan Sorsby, the former, as of last week, Texas Tech quarterback, to be eligible for the draft? I bet they won't. It is ugly when they make an example of you. Hope those bets were worth it, Brendan. I don't think they're going to make him eligible, so he can come out and say all he wants that he's going to go in the supplemental draft. Anyways, from the crowd, and I appreciate this, John Ohm tuned in the Slurpee capital. He says, Rod, what's more challenging to call, baseball or football? And then he says, positive vibe. Please explain. Thank you for that off the beaten path question, John, and I enjoy that. So obviously hockey is my number one. That's in my DNA. It's like breathing, easy. Football was fun, but I had to learn it and incredibly stressful. But ended up having a Hall of Fame career out of that, so that went well. And then it was 3 seasons ago that I picked up this baseball thing, this NCAA league, and thank God I'd played it because I had never broadcast baseball before and came in, and within the first game, I was like, oh, I'm going to need to get some stories, and I'm going to need to figure out how to read these stats a little better than I do, and I'd better get a score sheet. I just wasn't prepared, and that's on me. Don't get it twisted. I ended up winning Broadcaster of the Year in the rookie season. But what's more fascinating to me out of them all is the players. The hockey players I'm the most comfortable around because I was one. That's my herd. The football people are just so aggressive. We're going to stand on business. You disrespected us. That's the football thing. It just did that for a really long time. And the baseball people are just chill. Just chill. I can sit in the dugout and have a chat for an hour with a coach before the game and talk about everything. Life, baseball, talk about the players. It's just the most chill vibe in the world. Baseball is the most chill of it all. We'll be back with James Gallo right after this for Prairie Panels.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's time. The guest segment brought to you by Prairie Panels, building a shop, barn, rink, or commercial space. Prairie Panels provides high-quality insulated wall and roof panels designed for durability and energy efficiency. Visit prairiepanels.ca or call 1-306-985-0050. The voice of the Warriors, James Gallo, was with us, and the news just dropped. James, Ryan Craig is the 5th head coach of the Vegas Golden Knights. You're nodding your head. You saw the announcement. You and I both called his games as a junior player, been watching his career. So that's big news out of Vegas. What are your thoughts, buddy?
You know what? I think well-deserved. Ryan Craig was a great Brandon Wheat-King. He grew up in the Kelly McCrimmon era. Right, he knows about Crim's expectations, his goals. I think Ryan Craig's earned it. Right, he was down in Henderson there for a while. I think he's earned this opportunity. I think in an era where I think fans at times are tired of the recycled coach. I think it's nice to have some fresh blood. And I think, being familiar with Kelly McCrimmon, I think he's got full support to lead the Vegas Golden Knights into the future.
I love this. JG has come out fireballing, cooking with gas. Here's the thing, man. I say this to everybody. What I love about Moose Jaw in the summers for me is it's hockey, morning, noon, and night. And you're a huge part of that as the voice of the war. Can we sit and talk about this stuff all the time? We just happen to have a camera on it here right now. And you just said leading the Golden Knights. In my mind, when I saw this post here, 5th coach, first time that Kelly McCrimmon hasn't gone with a veteran guy. Because it was Gerard Gallant. I'll probably have this out of order, but no, I won't. Gerard Gallant, Peter DeBoer, Bruce Cassidy, John Tortorella. Those are all somewhat iconic guys. To go to a first-time guy, what does that say? It says a lot to me, which I'll get to in a second, but you're the guest.
To me, it just shows that Kelly McCrimmon has confidence in Ryan Craig. And I think, to me, that's a big thing for a general manager to have confidence in a new head coach and on a team where they're trying to win. Vegas is trying to win every year. They've got a team that's built to win every year. And for Kelly to make a statement like that and hire a guy like Ryan, I think it's great. Like I said, it's not a recycled guy. It's new blood. It brings new life into the room. It's a very veteran room. So it's a lot of players that he's probably familiar with at some point in time. I like it. Why not? I mean, he's been slugging it away for years in the American Hockey League. Deserves the opportunity, and why not with an organization that he's very familiar with? And he joins a long line. Sometimes you just got to start fresh, right? And Torts did what Torts did. He brought him to the Stanley Cup final, did a good job, in the last 2 months helping that team. But we'll see what Ryan Craig can do now.
Excited for it, and trust me, folks, we will move off the Golden Knights topic, but we are also airing in Nevada in a Vegas town. I could talk about it all day, and the reason I will one more on this is. I'm wondering if you are a Golden Knights fan, or are you really? I mean, you're going to be watching the games no matter what. But with Brett Howden on the team, and formerly Derek England, another former Warrior, are they your favorite team, James? Come on,
people have asked me, and growing up, I was a huge Quebec Nordiques fan, and I was a huge Colorado Avalanche fan for Joe Sakic. It's probably my favorite player of all time. 26 plus years in the Western Hockey League. I cheer for the boys, right? I just want to see the boys do well. I'll cheer for Vegas because of Brett Howden and Derek England and Kelly McCrimmon too. Kelly, I've known Kelly for a long time, and I appreciate everything that he's done for me. I'll cheer for the Toronto Maple Leafs just for the guy over top of my shoulder there, Morgan Riley, which is odd to cheer for the Maple Leafs, but I will. Watching Braden Point do what he did in Tampa Bay, continues to do in Tampa Bay. No favorite team. I just cheer for the boys. I'm that proud uncle that sits back, has a drink, and watches his boys on TV, and I love it.
It's great. Well, and it's just similar to me. I mean, I have so many people still to this day say, you and Kelly McCrimmon were sworn mortal enemies for years. Yes, that's in the past. We've moved on. Can you all move on? And I like supporting them. I like watching the ride. Now, you went there with the Leafs, and I texted you because you mentioned Morgan Riley, and I said to you this morning, brush up on your Jim Hiller stuff, which, by the way, Craig West is coming on tomorrow, our old buddy Westy. Him and Jim Hiller are super tight, so he'll have his thoughts on this. But you must have interviewed Jim Hiller over the years, Tri-City days, and if you're a Leaf fan, if nothing more than the sake of Morgan Riley, How do you feel about him
Yeah.
being hired as the 41st head coach in Leafs history today, Jim Hiller?
Well, first off, if you've got Westy coming on, are you going to a third or fourth hour? You might need it. Let's go there. And we love Westy. Westy's beautiful. He's a beauty. You know what? With us being in the Eastern Conference and Jim primarily with Tri-City and then with Chilliwack in the Western Conference, you only see him once a year. It's kind of tough to build that relationship. Westy will give you a big deep dive into Jim. I think it is the most or top 3 hockey hungry markets in all of the world is Toronto. It is a bubble that is hard to please everybody. I don't think people had Jim Hiller on their bingo card to be the next head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. 10 years as an assistant coach, 4 of those with Mike Babcock under the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's going to his 13th year in the National Hockey League, 2.5 as a head coach with the Los Angeles Kings. He's got experience. He's cut his teeth and he's got his opportunity. And I think that's what you have to ask. Again, I think in Toronto, they want the sexy name, right? Patrick Waugh might have been a name that springs to the top of my head that they would have liked. But the one thing you got to ask about Jim Hiller is how does he fit their vision? And it's a new regime in Toronto. They have a new vision in Toronto, and obviously they feel that Jim Hiller fits what they're trying to do. Again, I'm not a big Leafs fan. Like I said, I watch the Leafs just for number 44, and that's it. But I think with Jim Hiller, it's an interesting hire. It's not a sexy hire, but fans have to understand that there's a reason why they went with Jim Hiller and not somebody else. You just got to see how it works now. I mean, that's the thing, right? Jim's been to coach as an assistant or head coach in the National Hockey League, now going into 13 years, you got to be doing something right. And so he's got that going for him. I guess you kind of see how it goes. It's going to be a spectacle. It always is in Toronto. So we'll see how that rolls.
Very, very well said by James Gallo, voice of the Warriors, as we talk about Jim Hiller being hired by the Leafs today as their 41st head coach. By the way, Jason in Red Deer writes in, he says, Gary Lawless just tweeted that Kelly McCrimmon said Torts saved our season. Well, Stevie Wonder could see that, but thanks, Lawless. But here's number one, as I've been saying, first things when I opened my eyes this morning, my phone was blowing up on this Hiller stuff. I have not seen anything positive in terms of reaction on this hiring. But I think that's just today's sports. Because I think it's a good, if not Hiller, who would it be? But have you seen positive response to this? I have not.
I've seen a little bit of positive, and the positive that I've seen has come from, a lot from the West in fans that know right. Jim from his days from the Western Hockey League. So they have a better view of what Jim Hiller's like as an individual, as a coach. I can't, say to that because, didn't really have much to do with Jim just because of the conferences, right? Only seeing each other very limited amount of times. And Craig West will give you a better picture of Jim Hiller when you have him on. But when you're hiring a coach, it's tough because you will never keep everybody happy, right? Because some people will think that this makes sense. Other people will make that makes sense. It's just tough to please everybody. And I think, as fans, we have the right to voice our opinions on it. The hiring of the new general manager in Toronto raised a lot of eyebrows. And this is one of his first big decisions, right? I mean, he's got to live by this sword, right? Or fall on it. And I think, again, what the new management has in store for the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's a wait and see mode. It's a first overall pick. What's Austin Matthews' status? How are they going to work with the roster? I mean, they've got their vision. I know it's tough because they have been in a win now mode since the late 60s, right? I mean, they want to hoist the Stanley Cup. It is a tough place to be. But you know what? Jim having 4 years in Toronto, he knows what the spotlight's going to be. It's different when you're a head coach compared to an assistant coach. Now he's got to be the bad cop. Assistant coaches are the good cop. He's got to deal with the media and he's got to get right out there. But it's a wait and see mode. I mean, it's a rabid and passionate fan base that has their opinions that they're right to. And it's, I sound repetitive when I say it, but it's a wait and see. What happens if Jim Hiller goes in there and they win 40 games this year? right? I mean, then it's a great hire, right? You know, maybe they win 20 and they trade Austin Matthews, and you know, Jim's time is short-lived. Only time will tell. And you know, it's not, you can't put it all on Jim, because it's the management that put him in this space.
Sure, I'm positive about it. And you just brought something up. He'd been in Toronto for 5 seasons before with Babs. Like, he knows he's going in eyes wide open, which you would all hope somebody in this position would be able to do. I think it's a good hire, and I'll just say this. With Laviolette going to the Kings, and I believe Bruce Cassidy's going to Edmonton, and believe me, am I going to do 3 Victor Laps? If he doesn't, you're not going to see me for a week. But I mean, who else is out there? I'm sure there would have been somebody, but who else is out there? I couldn't think of any. Well, you said Roy, but besides that,
who knows, right? And I mean, you know, different coaches, veteran coaches bring a lot of experience. They also bring, you know, a lot of guys can have a lot of ego in there too, and it just doesn't fit what they're trying, you know, to build towards. And you know, you mentioned, you know, Jim Hiller's been in the league for 12 years, right? And I'm not picking on Mike Babcock at all in the time that Jim Hiller was with Mike Babcock, but assistant coaches learn what to do and probably learn more what not to do from their head coaches, right? So when Jim Hiller gets his opportunity now, he's probably learned from how many head coaches, you know, he's with the Islanders, he's with Detroit, you know, with Toronto, with the Kings. He's learned maybe what not to do more than what to do. And, you know, can he turn things around? We'll see. But there's a lot of hype about Craig Berube, and he just couldn't get that, right? So let's see what Jim Hiller can do.
While I have you, I would be remiss not to tell our viewers, James Gallo is the Warriors, but he's also the public announcer of Miller Express, for which I call the games on Flow College Baseball. We had an assistant coach go to the head coach, Michael Gonzalez of Secaucus, New Jersey. All of a sudden, start spreading the news. 7 wins in a row, baby. They're the hottest team in the league. What a great story.
Yeah, you know what? Gonzo's done a great job. And I think, again, you know, I won't pick on Eric Marriott, who was the past coach with the Miller Express, did a phenomenal job. But I think Gonzo, working with Eric, learns what to do, what not to do, and how he would handle things differently, right? And the one thing I know in the hiring process to promote Michael is that he understood the culture of not only the Moose Jaw Miller Express, but the culture and the vibe of the community of Moose Jaw. It is different. It is a smaller city. There's a lot of access. You know, our field is a stadium. So you walk past the fans, and, you know, Michael's got that real personable demeanor to him. You know, fist bumping the fans, talking to fans, you know, high-fiving the kids. I mean, that's what makes the accessibility of being a Moose Jaw special. And, you know, Gonzo's just done a great job. You're only as good as your next one. Let's call that out. And I think he understands that. You know, rosters are always fluctuating in the WCBL. That's another thing to consider as well. But he's just done a tremendous job. Have enjoyed working with him over the last 5 years. And, you know, he's trying to push forward to try and give the Miller Express something they haven't achieved in, you know, well over 2 decades, and that's a championship.
Well, 7 in a row is 7 in a row. First place showdown tonight with the Saskatoon Berries in town. I told him last night, I said, I'm so proud of you, Gonzo. I've seen a side of you that I didn't even know existed, because he's all business. He's been the goofy, fun guy. It says all I've known him as, and all of a sudden now he's Joe Torre. I misread
Well, I
that?
like he's a little more reserved now. He knows, I think as an assistant coach, sometimes, you know, Michael would get his emotions would go a little bit. He probably, you know, had a little more suspensions that he would have liked, and that would force him to sit up by us. You know, he's got a little bit of leeway, a little bit of runway now, but he's just done a good job. It's about, you know, these coaches in this league, how they're able to pull guys together who have never played with each other and manage their egos. I think Gonzo's done a really good job of that. It is not as easy as people think it is. And so far, Michael's just done a tremendous job managing, making sure guys get their innings, making sure guys get their at-bats, just to try and keep everybody happy. It's a difficult thing. And so far, Michael's done a really good job of that.
I appreciate Jason from Red Deer live tweeting the Golden Knights news conference. You're helping us out significantly, Jason. I'm not sure you know that. He says Kelly McCrimmon has just said he has granted a team permission to speak with Bruce Cassidy, and he will deal with it on a case-by-case basis. Well, everybody else has their coach. It's got to be the Oilers. So what is your read on that whole situation and how it's played out, if you don't mind?
You know what? I think it's classic Krim. That's probably the best way to put it. I think obviously Kelly probably wanted to get the season done and worry about it afterwards. He had bigger fish to fry, I think is probably his thing. I know it had nothing really to do with Vegas to grant that, but maybe he might have viewed it as a little bit of a distraction to what they were trying to accomplish. And now that they've got their guy, there's no reason why, if it is Edmonton, then let it go. But it'll be good, right? I mean, Edmonton's another guy. Edmonton, it's one of those things. The Oilers, we've talked about this before. The Oilers their win now. They've been win now, for how long? And, to bring in a guy like Bruce Cassidy, I think shows that, but if they get their guy, it's what can your guy do? And, you've got two of the best players in all of the world with the Edmonton Oilers. It is win now. And, it'll be fun to watch if it is Bruce Cassidy. Can he get them over that hump? Because you talk about a market that is also hungry to celebrate after those glorious years in the 80s. Edmonton would go pretty bonkers if Lord Stanley returned to Northern Alberta.
James Gallo with us, just a couple minutes left. It's going fast. You're a quality broadcaster, James. I've enjoyed this, and an even more quality human being. So what's your read on Hockey Night in Canada being dropped by CBC? I feel like it's not going anywhere other than not on CBC. And Hockey Night in Canada didn't die, just on CBC, unless I've misread that.
Yeah, I think for our generation, Rod, it's a tough pill to swallow. We grew up on it, right? When, you and I both grew up in small towns where we only had 3 channels. If the rabbit ears were great and the tinfoil was working really good on right. So, I mean, we grew up with Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. I think in today's era where, you have networks that have streaming platforms and the accessibility to watch, it's available to everybody. Right? I mean, being on the CBC now, is it a tough pill for us? Yes. Is it something that the new generation or the new era really understands? No. Right? So as long as there's hockey on Saturday night and you get your doubleheader, I'm all for it. It doesn't really rattle me too much. It's just the new era. I'm actually surprised it's not on Netflix or something like that. It's still on a Canadian network. It's still going to be Hockey Night in Canada. It's just unfortunate it's not going to be on the CBC.
Sure, but not really going to change yours and my life too much. I don't even think I watch it on CBC, right? So I guess you've known me a long time. I don't have a lot of sentimental. I think the people it's what you just said. There's some sentimentality here, but guys, get with it. Dave Hodge said, "Who didn't see this coming? We saw it coming, did we not?"
It was only a matter of time, right? It's only a matter of time, and listen, hockey's going to be covered through the roof in Canada. It's just a matter of finding the right channel or getting on the right streaming platform. There are worse things in this world to worry about than hockey being on the CBC. We grew up in a time where it was, and it was awesome, and I wouldn't change it for the world. But that is not the times that we live in right now, when you've got 1 billion channels and you've got however many streaming platforms. It's accessible to everybody in every part of the world, pretty much. So as long as I can tap it into my veins Saturday after a Warrior game.
He gone. Thank you, James, for your time. I'll see you tonight. We're out of time for this segment. We'll be right back in Silver State Sports.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Just rolling along. These commercial breaks are just a pause in the fun sports talk that we do every day. Come on. Rob writes in from Windthorst on the Western Dodge. He says, always great to see James on the RP show. One of my first broadcast mentors at 800 CHAB back in the day. Yeah, James is always great. It's a pleasure to see him every single night. Or most nights here with the Millers. It's Miller time tonight, 7:05 against the Saskatoon Berries. Kelly writes in from the Queen City on the hiring of Ryan Craig as the head coach of the Vegas Golden Knights. Kelly says maybe he brings Jamie Heward along with him into Vegas. Maybe. Here's what we're all talking about. Then we'll get into a sports update of everything else that's going on. Thank you, Golden Knights, for the email. Makes my life a lot easier. Vegas Golden Knights general manager Kelly McCrimmon announced today that Ryan Craig has been named the team's head coach. Craig becomes the fifth head coach in Vegas' history. Craig, 44 years old, spent the past season serving as head coach of the organization's affiliate in the American Hockey League, the Henderson Silver Knights. Prior to his tenure as head coach in Henderson, Craig served as an assistant coach with the Golden Knights for 6 seasons from 2017 to 2023. The native of Abbotsford, British Columbia, lifted the Stanley Cup with the Golden Knights in 2023. Prior to beginning his coaching career, Craig played 8 years in the NHL, totaling 198 games with the Tampa Bay Lightning, Pittsburgh Penguins, and Columbus Blue Jackets. He played 5 seasons for the Western Hockey League's branded Wheat Kings, where Kelly McCrimmon was the team's owner and general manager. He led the team in scoring twice and served as captain for 2 years. Boom. So for you Las Vegans, there's your new head coach. And I need to constantly remind myself that we all know this because we lived it. It's new to you. So you're welcome. Also, news out of Toronto, the Maple Leafs have hired as their 41st head coach, Jim Hiller. This is the text that I received this morning. This is how this is going around in Canada. Okay. The public address announcer for the Rough Riders texted me this morning. Maple Leafs name Hiller, 41st coach in franchise history. Begin jotting down potential candidates for 42nd head coach. I'll tell you right now, I don't know which one of our viewers said it this week, but after Tunisia fired their coach after the first game of the World Cup when they lost 5-1, I don't know, are you watching now? Some guy wrote in here yesterday and said, is Kelly McCrimmon the general manager of Tunisia? I mean, come on. That's funny. This all feels so old, this sports update that I'm going to read right now for the Ultimate Fan Zone. The College World Series semifinals were finalized today. Was it today? Number 16, West Virginia, is set to face number 5, North Carolina, and number 3, Georgia, is set to face Oklahoma. There you go, Carlos in Indiana. I saw you writing in here earlier about the College World Series. There you go. Alden Smith's family will donate his brain to the Boston University CTE Center to determine whether CTE played a role in the former lineman's death after he passed away on Saturday at the age of 36. Reigning Olympic 100-meter champion Noah Lyles broke the 150-meter world record on Tuesday at the Golden Spike meet in the Czech Republic. He notched a time of 14.67 seconds, eclipsing the previous mark of 14.92 set in April by Jamaica's Keishane Thompson. And Cameron Jordan, the 8-time Pro Bowl defensive end who spent all 15 of his NFL seasons with the Saints, is returning to New Orleans for one final season. The 37-year-old has 132 career sacks, second only to Von Miller among active players. And that is your sports update, proudly brought to you by the Ultimate Fan Zone. Don't just watch the game, live it. Gear up at Ultimate Fan Zone today. Jerseys, cards, collectibles, find it all at ultimatefanzone.ca. Again, 902-518-3033 is the text line, proudly brought to you by Western Dodge. Hey, BW, he writes it. He says, very late to the party, morning from soaked Williston, North Dakota. What's popping in Williston, North Dakota, BW? Thanks for joining us up there on the streaming feed. BW is a longtime viewer of ours, a P1 as I call them, Priority 1. I'll just tee this up before we break, which we're going to be doing here right away. It's viewer takeover the rest of the way, and we're going to break here right away. 902-518-33. Get your questions and comments in. I know you're not done with Hockey Night in Canada. Anything else as well on Silver State.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. All right, welcome back, everybody, for the final segment, proudly brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. And I know they proudly bring it to you because they told me, and the plan was to be in Calgary this weekend on a business venture and enjoying the Canadian Football League game there between Saskatchewan and the Calgary Stampeders. That's not happening, which, by the way, where is Jeff the Stamps fan today? Must be busy. Anyways, it's not happening this weekend. We won't be going to Overtime Hockey Lanes, but that does not preclude those that are going to the football game in Calgary Saturday night in the Canadian Football League to stop in earlier in the day, say hey to Randy and Michelle. Certainly if you got kids, drop them off there. $20 an hour, lane time, shoot until your heart's desire. 28th Street Northeast, Calgary, where skill and fun collide. Thank you, Kirk in Toronto, for the clarification. I love doing this show so much. I do. Things about it I love, things about it I don't love. One of the things, this isn't to do anything to do with this show, but to do with the Hockey Night in Canada CBC thing. I'll say it one more time, and I don't think I'm capable of this, but I'm capable of a lot of great things. But making Canadian and American sports fans and sports viewers think the same, probably never going to happen. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. But again, the biggest furor across the land in Canada is that CBC, Canada's PBS, will no longer air Hockey Night in Canada. Oh my God. Wayne is watching in Victoria. He writes in, he says, we all pay for the television shows we watch. Nothing on TV is free anymore. Right? And I said the iconic, and it is iconic more than any other sports anthem on television. Dun, 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 the Hockey Night in Canada. I had read, obviously it was fake news, and you see why I don't trust anything anymore, that Hockey Night in Canada, the name was still owned by the CBC and the song, but Kirk in Toronto writes in, he says, the Hockey Night in Canada theme song is played on TSN hockey broadcasts and on Jay Onright's show. Jay Onright, formerly of Fox Sports 1 in America, for a brief period back on TSN. You're right, they did buy that because the guy running Sportsnet at the time fell asleep at the switch. So what do we got? We got, what's today, Wednesday? I'll be spending the rest of the day getting ready for the World Cup live stream Thursday night. Moose and I invite you, just go to my social media channels, at Rod Pedersen on Twitter. Boom, done. Pin tweet the link to watch Moose and I in our live stream. You know it's going to be more fun than a barrel of monkeys. Canada versus Qatar, the second group stage game for Canada. Can you believe that I'm into this? They sent me a jersey to wear. And I have to wear it for the live stream. The question is, am I going to want to wear it on the show tomorrow? What do you think? Should I? 53 years young I am, and for the first time in my life, I'll be wearing a soccer jersey. Period. Whether it's on this show or not. That's the first time for everything. And when they say, if you ever doubted it, I'm living proof. There's a first time for anything. Rod's going to be wearing a soccer jersey on the air for a live stream of a soccer game for the World Cup. Unbelievable. Jeff, the Stamps fan, has showed up and says, I'm listening. Yes. Thank you, Jeff. Your good friend, Kevin the Media, will be here tomorrow. You can troll him if you wish. Glenn's watching in Medicine Hat. He says, years ago, when CBC was expected to function and operate like a business, Hockey Night in Canada was perhaps its only revenue-generating property. Now what? Not their problem. It's their problem. It's not my problem. How's CBC going to pay the bills? I don't care. It's very similar to the Canadian Football League. Everybody's worried about the declining attendance. They're not worried about my finances. Why would I worry about theirs? World Cup, they're the ones paying me. And today, we got Portugal versus Congo. How about that? I mean, it's just weird that I know that Congo is in the World Cup for the first time ever. It's just, we're all in a battle in today's world for attention. Which league's grabbing you? Which team's grabbing you? Which channel's grabbing you? Which show's grabbing you? Have you figured that out yet? Thank you all for joining us. England versus Croatia. From what I've read, the English fans are going to be so drunk they won't even remember the game. That's what I'm reading on that one. Ghana versus Panama. I think it's dirty that they're not referring to it as BMO Field, or for that matter, Hard Rock Stadium in Miami or Arrowhead in Kansas City. It's Kansas City Stadium. I'm again watching that going, that looks a lot like Arrowhead. Paul and Humble, appreciate you, buddy. He writes, then he says, yes. Shorts? No. I'm a conservative dresser, at least at this point in my life. I was wearing a pair of pink shorts into the menswear store that I frequented for years. I went there on Saturday. Colin Perkowitz, he goes, you're going to get beat up outside wearing those pink shorts. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not in Florida anymore. I'm in Canada's version of Oklahoma. Y'all want to see it, don't you? Or that might be a good reason to get you to tune into the live stream, though, to see me wearing the soccer jersey. Again, go to @RodPedersen on Twitter. The link is there. It's on a streaming platform called Gosh, and we're presented by BC Game, a global crypto casino. I said to Moose, how in the world did they find us? He said, don't ask questions. Just get ready for the game. So Moose is flying to Los Angeles on Thursday, getting ready for the USA National Flag Football Championships, of which we broadcast together a few summers ago. He's going back down there to do that. And then he's going to pop on the live stream with us Thursday night, 6 p.m. Eastern for Canada, Qatar. Where was I? Ghana, Panama, Uzbekistan versus Colombia. The 4 games with the World Cup, I'm just oddly getting into it. I'm coming home at night from broadcasting these baseball games as we go for 8 wins in a row tonight against the Saskatoon Berries, flipping on World Cup and enjoying it, and not getting caught up on the fake news and the gobbledygook and all the negative crap out there. Brent in the Bridge City says, good luck to the Moose Jaw Millers against the Saskatoon Berries tonight, Rod. Have a great day. Say yes, Jeff. I was talking to you. See you tomorrow here on the RP Show.
That